Hello, my name is Tony Budd, and today I'm going to show you how I make Jaffa Cakes, which are quite simple, quite easy to do, and they don't require too many ingredients. So over here I've got the filling, which is just one little pack of Bartley's jelly, orange jelly. In here I've got some apricot jelly. Um, on the recipe it says to use marmalade, but you can use whatever you want really, just to kind of give it a bit of flavour. So I like using the apricot jam and then just mixing that with the jelly. It gives it a nice flavour. Here I've got my dark chocolate, which I've got 200 grams of chocolate in here, maybe a wee bit excessive for the amount that we're going to make, but that's what I've got in that. And I've got a little bit of water in bottom, not enough to touch the bottom of the bowl, okay, so that's crucial that you do that. And then I'm going to put that over here on my cooker side and just let it gently simmer and gently melt, okay. Tempering chocolate, things like that, we'll do that maybe later on in a different video or a different class. Further down the line, we'll go over chocolate. We'll make little chocolate sweets and things like that, and we'll go over tempering chocolate and how to work with chocolate and do chocolate curls and things like that. So anyway, that's the dark chocolate, and you can use milk chocolate or whatever you want, but I find that the dark chocolate is easier to use, especially when you're doing things like Jaffa cakes and stuff like that. So I'll put this over and I'll just let it melt. Over here, let's put that on the back and just turn it down. So while I've got that melting, I'm going to make the actual orange jelly filling. Over here you'll see that I've got 2 eggs, 50 grams of caster sugar, 50 grams of just plain flour, and I've got my tray here. So we'll go over that in a second, but first of all what you want to do is set your jelly and get it set, and it doesn't take that long to set, so you can get that done first, put it in the fridge, and by the time you cook off and make your sponge base or biscuit base, whatever way you want to call it, by the time it's baked, this should be set, ready to cut out. Okay, so what I've got in here is 125 mils of water. I'll put slightly less than that because I'm going to add a wee bit more of the jam. So I'm going to put that into my pot, so there's not much, and then open up my jelly crystals. So you can see it's a little jelly. When I was younger we used to steal the cubes and eat them, but wouldn't say it would be too good for your teeth. So you can get a pair of scissors maybe and cut these. Would be a lot easier than just trying to break them up, and then just put that into here, and then just break it up, put it in. As I say, use scissors. It'd be a lot easier than trying to pull it apart like this. So this is just out of the fridge, so it's quite solid. Put that in, and then just turn it on and bring it to the boil. That's it on there, so that will melt. While that's melting, what you want to do is get a tray ready. If you've got a nice half tray with about 20-30 centimeters high, then that's good. I don't have small enough trays, so what I'm going to do is make my own. So I've got some cling film, so I'm going to put that over the tray. This also makes it a lot easier to lift out. Then what I'm going to do is fold it halfway up the tray to make like a little barrier, a little dam, and then just do that about halfway. So you want it to be the jelly to be quite thick, so that it sits up on the Jaffa cake. So I think everybody likes Jaffa cakes, although I was quite surprised in one of my classes somebody said that they didn't like Jaffa cakes, so what's going on there. I thought everybody loves Jaffa Cakes. So you can see that's melting quite quickly. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is put in about 3 spoonfuls of the jam. Just put plenty in. Like that. If you're using the marmalade, don't forget melt it first of all. What I normally do is melt it in the microwave and then strain out all the little bits. Or you can get marmalade that doesn't have the the orange rind in it. So I'm going to put plenty of that in. So, and then just melt that down. So this induction oven is quite good. It's quite quick. If you're using gas, it might take a wee while for it to come to the boil. But there's not a lot of liquid in there. You just want to make sure everything's melted, that the jam's melted as well. So just let that sit and melt. So I've got my little barrier done, like so. So that's it, ready to go. So you've got that. If you've got a tray just that size, well and good. So while I'm letting that melt, I'm going to make sure I've got my little cake tray. You can use little bun cases, the little paper bun cases. You can use them as well, but if you've got these, well and good. And then just make sure they're well greased. And give them a real good rub. That. You can buy the cake release spray and things like that. You can use, which is what I normally use, is like a spray can, and it's cake release spray. It's called. You can get it in Lakeland. Anyway, make sure it's well greased. Don't have too much oil because you're not trying to deep fry the sponge. Okay, you're just making sure that it comes out, releases. Okay. Set this over to one side. Just give this a little mix just to make sure that it's melting. Make sure it's completely melted. That's it, completely melted. And then I'll just pour that in that one. And then just pour that in. So, and that's it. So you can see I've got a little leak at the side. You don't want that, okay? And then just with a steady hand, set that into the fridge and let it cool down. So I'll take this through to the fridge. So I've got that through in the back kitchen, in the fridge. Take this to one side. So I've got my tray greased. And then what you want to do is, with your pot, so, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cream the eggs and sugar, okay? So I've got my pot here, I've got some water, so I'm going to put some water into here, bring it to the boil and then let it simmer. I'm going to put my bowl inside the pot, but what I don't want is the bottom of the bowl touching the boiling water, because once you've got the egg and you're creaming it, you don't want it to start cooking like an omelette around the outside, okay? So you're just warming it up. So we'll put that in. So you can see that my bowl is not touching the water, okay? So I'll bring that to the boil and boil that up. In the meantime, I'll crack 2 eggs into my bowl, that, and then the sugar, and then I'll just wash my hands. So I've got that coming to the boil. I've got my little mixing machine. So I'm going to start it off and just mix it up. So I've got that started, and then this here is just starting to come to the boil. It's quite quick. Then I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to whisk it, okay? Whisk it until it goes a nice white pale colour and starts to thicken up, okay? Which will take between 5-10 minutes, okay? So that's just coming up to the boil. So I'm going to turn that down to number 1 on my induction hob. And then that's it, just on simmer. Put the bowl in, and then just start whisking it up. Okay, so you can see that that's quite thick. So it's got a nice, beautiful, just, you can see it's just making lines and making marks in the batter. So it's not quite ribbon stage, but nearly. So you can see it's just sitting on the top. I'll take this over to one side. Turn this off. And then what we're going to do is, rather than fold the flour in, we're just going to gently mix it in, okay? So we're going to mix the plain flour into the batter mix. And we don't want it, we want it to rise slightly, but we don't want it to rise like a cupcake. We just want it to keep flat, like the classic base of a Jaffa cake. So we're just going to mix it in gently, and then just a small piece at a time, and just mix that in. Okay, so and then just gently mix it in. So you can see we've got quite a bit of mixture. So we're not too worried about knocking too much of the air out, but we don't want to knock it all out. So we just gently mix it in. And then I'll just turn that off and mix it in. So you can see the kind of consistency we're looking for. Yeah, it's just dropping into the bowl. Make sure it's all completely mixed in. Take off the whisks. One of the things you need to make sure you don't do is, which I've seen in a few of my classes, especially when they're doing mixing up meringue, is turn the mixer off before you lift it out of the bowl, or you end up pebble dashing your friends, yourself, the bench. Okay, so it seems a pretty basic, but I've seen it happening a few times. So we take that off to one side, like that, and we've got our sponge mix ready to go into the little bowls. So what you want to do is use a dessert spoon. The reason why I like using these is kind of pointed top, and you can aim it better into the little moulds. So we're filling that up just about halfway. So all the way around. So I'm not filling it up right to the very top, just halfway, okay? So halfway up. And try and keep them an even size. So all the way around. See my chocolates just got melted nicely over there. I'll keep pouring these in. Yes. I've seen me doing desserts, you know, using the same kind of mix and using little mini loaf tins just to do them a different shape, and using it in the restaurant as a little dessert to go along with maybe an ice cream or a mousse, a nice orange and ginger ice cream or something like that. So you can see that's all in. Maybe a wee bit too much in them. We've got plenty of mixture left. So if you've got a tray that's got more spaces in it, you could fill up a little bit more. So I've got that ready. So what I'm going to do is put that into a preheated oven, 180 degrees, and it takes round about 10 minutes. Okay, so just keep an eye out. What you want it is a slightly tan colour, not too dark. Okay, so we'll put that in the oven. Everybody's oven's different. Okay, so my kind of induction oven, fan assisted, it takes about 9 minutes or so. Okay, so just put that into the oven. And then just let that bake away. So what I've got is, I've got some that I prepared earlier. So once you lift them out of the oven, let them cool down before you try and lift them out of the trays, okay? So the sponge settles down and it also stiffens up, okay? And it makes it easier to lift out. If you don't do that and you try and lift them out, the sponge is still warm, still quite soft, and it'll just break up. Another way of checking, you can see these are quite a nice colour, is normally I would just feel them and I would be able to tell whether they're cooked or not. And what you could do, or what you probably will do, is a little skewer, stick it into the centre. If it comes out and there's still some of the batter stuck to the skewer, it means that it's not cooked, okay? And then you quickly put them back in the oven. Okay, so once you've made them a few times and you get to understand the sponge, as soon as you touch them or see them, you'll see that they're cooked, okay? So we've got that, and we've also got our jelly, which you can see is set. So it doesn't take that long to set, and then you can see that it comes out of the tray like that. So I'm just going to keep it in the tray, like so. And I've got my base, and what I use is the bottom. If you've got a small cutter that's just inside the size of your little sponges, yep. So you want it to be slightly in smaller. So you can see that came out quite easily, well greased. Okay, so that's about, I don't know, a few millimeters in from the side of the chocolate. So you want to see the lump, you know, the kind of the jelly showing through the chocolate. So what I'm going to do is use that and then just cut out little circles like so. And we'll just check the rest of the sponges just to make sure. So we use a spoon. This is a soup spoon, and I just make sure that they all come out quite easily. So we do this before you put your fillings on, the orange filling, just to make sure that they come out easy enough, like so. And then just check them all. So they're all coming out quite nicely. There. You can take them out of the tray and make them up, but I think if you keep them in the tray, whenever you come to put the chocolate on, it stops it from flowing around the sides. Okay, so it puts a little barrier. So we'll do that. Then we'll put our jelly on the top like so, all the way around, and then just cut them out, and then just place them on. So we'll just quickly do this. That. And then you can see that they're right in the centre. You can make them as big as you want or as small. This is just the trays that I had in my back kitchen. So you can make large ones, and things like that. So we'll keep one of these. So you can see mine are a bit thick. So all the way around. And just placing them on the centre. So we've got that all ready. Put this over to one side, and then we'll just rescue our chocolate. So I've got my chocolate here. Just mix that in, and then what you're going to do is just let the chocolate cool down slightly, because what you don't want is to put the chocolate over your jelly and then it melts. Okay, so Just let this cool slightly. That's it there. Right temperature. So I'm just going to start putting the chocolate on the top. So we just let it flow over the top like that, and then just work it right round so that it fills up the sides and goes right out to the sides. You don't want too much chocolate on it. And then we just do the same for each one, all the way around. Like so. And then just keep going. You want the chocolate to be loose enough so that it kind of flows out to the sides. If you let it cool down too much, then it doesn't flow and you don't get the nice shine. So you see the nice shine in that is fantastic because it's just been tempered properly. Again, which I'll go over tempering chocolate at a later stage in another video or another class. And just keep pouring that over. Don't worry if they look a wee bit rustic, because you know, people like that, especially if you've got people coming around for a cup of tea, you know, sitting in the garden socially distancing. You can tell them that you made them yourself, and if they look a wee bit rustic, then they'll believe you. If you make them too perfect, they'll not believe you, and they'll think you've just bought them. So, there we go. And then we're just letting that cool. All the way around. So then this is the cool bit, or the exciting bit, which seems a bit sad whenever I get all excited about putting the top on a Jaffa cake. But once you let it cool down and let it set, and it's almost starting to set, you just get a fork and then just touch the top like that, and then that gives the top that you normally see on a Jaffa cake, the kind of ridges. Sometimes it's better if you let it sit until it's almost set, but we'll just go around and do that like so, all the way around, and then you just get the little ridges on the top of the Jaffa cake, which looks like that. Then you just let it cool, and once they cool down, don't be tempted to try and prise them out before they've set. So I would leave them sitting in a nice cool area overnight, even in the fridge if you want. Fridge tends to make them a wee bit cloudy, but if you just let them set, and then just get a hot knife if it's stuck around the sides, run the hot knife right around the edge, and then they should pop out, and then you just keep them in a container and keep them in the fridge. Okay, and that is it. That is your Jaffa cakes. Okay, so I'll look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you.